Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Dr. Cheryl Ingram, and I'm the CEO and founder of Diverse City. And I decided to make a video today because I've been online on my social media, and I've seen a lot of controversy around regarding the flag and Colin Kapernick taking a knee and other NFL players taking a knee to protest racial injustice during the game. And not just the NFL players, but also now athletes from other sports are getting involved. And I wanted to provide some context on the way that people see and think about the flag and why there's such controversy, and hopefully provide you with some tools to be able to have a conversation with someone who might think differently from you about what that symbolizes for you depending on your identity. So speaking of identity, let's talk about the fact that when human beings are born, most of us are born neutral, right? Things have been created for us, and we learn our identities based on institutions, and these institutions can be family, friends, media, TV, all of these things. But then what happens is we start to tie some of our identity to symbols. And because we tie our identities to symbols, we have this emotional attachment that can sometimes trump our strategic reasoning and ability to think about the fact that other people may have different experiences depending on their identities when it comes to those symbols. So when we think about, for example, the American flag and patriotism, depending on your identity and the privilege that you have been trained by institutions to have certain beliefs about what that means. And you've dedicated yourself to it. You created emotional ties to it. And then what happens is when somebody challenges you emotionally, which sometimes cuts down your ability to be able to think reasonably about what somebody else might be experiencing when they see that symbol. So when Colin Kaepernick first took his knee, and he saw this flag, and he said to himself that symbolized for him a country that is allowing racial injustice to happen. He came from a place that some people with especially white privilege couldn't understand. So you see, they've been looking at this flag and you've been thinking to yourself, like, this represents our country and all the things that we fought for and that we stood for, and not understanding that there's a different history in our company that depending on our identities, we understand, and we have emotional ties to, right? Like if you are Black in America and you think about slavery, you think about the Constitution, you think about the Jim Crow laws, all the things that have justified the mistreatment of Black people in this country. And not just, I'm speaking from a place of Black people because I am Black. But if you think about any identity you have that is not normal, white, heterosexual, cisgendered, Christian, we have different identities tied to different emotional experiences, and therefore we have the right to voice those respectfully, which Colin Kaepernick has done, right? Taking a knee. Other NFL players are taking a knee to show the disapproval that they have of the injustices that people have faced based on their identities. The challenge on social media is when we get to arguing with one another about who's right and who's wrong, instead of taking the perspective of what does it mean to meet somebody in the middle and be able to understand their experiences. If you believe so much that your beliefs are right and someone else's are wrong, there's no way you're going to have a conversation where human beings can meet themselves and can meet in the middle and develop a mutual understanding of the experiences that we have, even though our identities are very different. So you have to think about it like that, right? It's like, if I go online and I make a post about taking a knee and one of my friends comes on my post and says, I don't think that you should feel that way because this, and this, instead of starting from a place of inquiry where you ask, why is it that you feel that way? Let's talk more about what that means to you and what it means to me and how we can both develop a mutual understanding. We go immediately into this combative state where we think we need to prove people wrong and become the moral person and the right person, instead of thinking about the fact that the morality that you have has been built by an institution, and an institution that has developed your identity. So what I'm saying to you is think of an alternative where you meet someone in the middle and have a conversation with them about why they agree or disagree with what it is that you're saying, instead of immediately making them out to be the villain or the bad person. And in particular, I'm talking from a person who has a racially stigmatized identity within the United States that understands the struggle that Colin Kaepernick is addressing and other NFL players and people around the world are addressing even when they sing the national anthem. It's this understanding that somehow I have developed this place to be able to think about an experience that might be different from mine, right? Because not all the people who are kneeling are Black. They come from multiple racial identities, and many of them stigmatized and some of them not. So I would say that it is a prime example of privilege for you to sit and deny someone the right to share their story because you think that the history that you have trumps that. So I guess my message to you and to the world today is Be able to come where you meet someone in the middle and you understand where it is that they come from when it comes to their identity and how that has developed. Because if you don't, then you are the epitome of privilege. You are the thing that is the issue with the freedom of speech, because you are denying it for somebody else based on a symbol that is attached to your identity. And that's the thing that's wrong with the way that we communicate with one another today. So my encouragement is to be able to find a place to meet in the middle where you can share experiences, learn from those experiences, and grow from those experiences. Because if you are the person who believes that you don't have that right, you are part of the reason why people around the world are taking a knee to protest racial injustice. This has been your time with Cheryl Ingram from Diverse City. Y'all have a blessed day.